Hey everybody, long time no post, but we're back. I wrote a blog article about this topic. A lot of folks have found it helpful, asked me to do a YouTube on it, so I'm putting a link to that blog in the description. Click it if you're interested in reading more. With that, let's get into the topic of the day, which is legal shield. Is it worth it? Is it a scam? This is a real lawyer's perspective coming right up. So, have you ever seen those ads for Legal Shield? They promise you a lawyer on call for a monthly fee that costs less than dinner. Sounds amazing, right? Almost too good to be true. My name is Ryan Reifert. I'm a business and estates attorney in Texas, and today we're going to dig into the truth about Legal Shield. We're going to break down a review from an actual business attorney, that's me, to answer the big question that you probably are here for. Is this service actually worth your money, or are you just paying for the illusion of protection? If you're thinking about signing up, or if you think you're covered for a lawsuit because you have a membership to Legal Shield, you need to watch this video. First of all, we're going to play fair. There are some positives to Legal Shield. Number one, and let's be honest, number one, traditional lawyers are expensive. Legal Shield is cheap. Now, that's a big plus, but let's go on a brief little diversion, if you'll permit me a rabbit trail. Have you ever heard the saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch? So the premium version of Legal Shield costs $60 a month. The basic is only $30 a month. Now, any decent attorney is going to cost $300, $400, $500 an hour or more. That means that in order to pay for one single hour of attorney time, 1 hour, they need to accumulate 5, 10, 20, 30 months worth of membership fees, either 1 month from 30 members, 5 months from 1 member, however it may be, just to pay for that single hour of attorney time. And that's without factoring in Legal Shield's commissions, profits, marketing, executive salaries, of which there are a lot. Number two, accessibility for very basic things. We're talking about traffic tickets, getting a simple demand letter written, or as we affectionately call them in the business, a nastygram. Asking a quick question, call up a lawyer for 5 minutes. Hey, is this thing okay to sign? Whatever it may be. Can be convenient, can be really nice. But here's the analogy that I'll use. It's like the difference between a gym membership and a surgeon. A gym membership is great for staying in shape, doing some preventative maintenance, so to speak, on your body. But when it comes to a surgery, you really need a surgeon. When it comes to a surgery, going to the gym really isn't going to cut it, right? Legal Shield attorneys are generally part of a network. They get paid a reimbursement from the plan that's usually pretty low. They take a cut to their hourly rate, 50%, 75% or more. And in order to make a profit, these firms have to rely on volume. They need to process as many cases as possible, as fast as possible. So you as the consumer, what are you getting? You're getting somebody who's trying to rush through your issue in 5 minutes in order to meet a quota because they're not getting paid by the hour. They're getting paid by Legal Shield for handling your matter as quickly as possible. Another big downside is that you don't get to pick your attorney. When you hire a private attorney, on the other hand, you interview them. You go to their office. You check their vibe. You see if that person is somebody that you get a rapport with. If you think that they could represent you, if you could trust them. A relationship of trust between the client and the attorney is one of the most important things that you can have. Not telling your attorney the whole truth, and that's why we have attorney-client privilege, by the way, but not telling your attorney the whole truth can cause huge problems down the way. So having an attorney that you feel like you can trust is so important. You don't get that with Legal Shield. They send you an email. They say, this is your attorney. You get assigned. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit, as my mom used to say. If they're not an expert, if you don't like them, if they're rude, if they smell funny, too bad. Let's talk about another thing that's included in a lot of these Legal Shield plans. They include things like, we'll do a trust for you. We'll do a prenup for you. We'll do a will for you. Guys, you might as well do a fill in the blank. You might as well go to LegalZoom. You might as well go to Rocket Lawyer because you're probably getting a form that's just about the same effect. They're going to have their assistant fill in the blanks. You're not going to get more than 5 or 10 minutes with an attorney actually looking at your documents because an attorney who charges hundreds of dollars an hour is not going to spend 10 hours on your trust for $60 a month. They're just not going to do that. The fill-in-the-blank documents are probably as good and save your monthly subscription, is what I would say. Now, let's talk about what's not covered. And this is where people get burned, right? A lot of times they think, oh, I have a subscription, I have a lawyer, I'm covered. First of all, pre-existing conditions, and we all remember that from the whole Obamacare debate, but pre-existing conditions is also a thing in law. Those are not covered. Meaning, if the legal trouble started before you signed up to the plan, it's out. So if the dispute that you had that you're wanting to get coverage for happened 3 months before you signed up, doesn't matter whether it'd be covered by the rest of it or not, you're out. Complex litigation is also not covered. Intellectual property, multi-district litigation, complex business lawsuits, tax controversies with the IRS, generally not going to be covered. And if they are, you're looking at the 25% discount. You're still paying thousands of dollars, just slightly fewer thousands of dollars. And by the way, you don't get to pick the attorney. You don't get to pick the firm. You have to use the one that they referred you to. Now, I don't know about y'all, but for me, if my livelihood was on the line, if my liberty was on the line, if I was facing criminal charges and I might go to jail, if I was facing a multi-million-dollar lawsuit and somebody wanted to put me in poverty for the rest of my life, I'm not getting an attorney that someone else gave me off of a list. I'm going to go pick the smartest attorney that I know, and I'm going to pay them what they are worth. For a big bet the company, bet your freedom kind of legal problem, I'm not getting somebody off of a list. Maybe you feel differently. If you do, maybe this is the plan for you. But for me, if it's a big issue, I'm going to go hire the best, smartest, most aggressive, strongest lawyer that I know, and I don't really care if they're on a list or not. So let's talk about courtroom defense, right? So a lot of these plans include trial defense hours, something like 50 or 60 hours. That sounds like a lot. Unfortunately, in an actual complex, real lawsuit, 60 hours ain't much. And that's your lifetime cap for the total plan. Once you burn through your 60 hours, you're paying out of pocket. That's it. You're talking about years that can stretch into hundreds, even thousands of hours. And all of that, after the first 60, is all out of pocket. So if you're talking about something like a true go to the mat, big deal litigation, it's basically all out of pocket at that point. So anyway, what's the verdict here? If you need to fight a speeding ticket, you need to write a mean letter to your landlord to get them to fix your AC, your kid is looking at a lease, and you're worried about this one particular clause, you need to talk to an attorney for 10 minutes, and that's it. LegalShield is probably pretty good for that. But if you're a business owner, you're somebody who's facing a legal threat, a serious legal threat, if you have a lot of money and you want to put together a solid estate plan and avoid taxes and protect the future generations, if you are looking to put together a good will that will avoid a fight in the future, if you're looking to do an acquisition or be acquired, it's really not the right fit for any of those things. For any of those things, you need to hire the lawyer that you need to hire, and that's the best person for the job. Sometimes you really do get what you pay for. So if you found this breakdown helpful, please like the video. Please hit the subscribe button. Looking forward to seeing you all again. Take care. Happy holidays.